So as the nation commemorates more than 6,400 troops who died in post-9/11 wars, it's a sobering statistic. Of the 1.6 million Iraq and Afghanistan war vets, 45% are now seeking disability benefits. That's more than double the number who filed for such claims after the Gulf War in the 1990s. And I'm joined again by Colonel Jack Jacobs, an MSNBC military analyst, recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, and Jon Soltz, chairman of VoteVets.org, joins the conversation. Gentlemen, it's great to have you here. And Jack, as we look at that number, it is an eye-opening statistic for a lot of people. Let's talk about the explanation for why that number has doubled over the past decade.
Well, for one thing, it's the way we fought. When you send people down unsecured roads on administrative and logistical jobs, and you do not secure the front and flanks of the road, you're making a big mistake. It's just an invitation to get killed or wounded by an improvised explosive device. And as a matter of fact, the large majority of our casualties have been as the result of improvised explosive devices. You can't do that. If you want to make sure that you protect your force, you got to make sure that it's secure, and we haven't done a very good job of doing that in this war.
So, John, as you're listening to the colonel there talk about that a lot of this is a result of how we fought over the time invested in these wars, how much of these disabilities are post-traumatic stress disorder related and the technical issues that then come off of that?
Well, the 45% is a staggering number of people coming for claims. That's the first time I actually heard that. The number we're real comfortable with in the military is, like the colonel said, 1 of every 3 troops who dies in Iraq or Afghanistan dies from an IED. And then we expect 1 in 3 troops who return home to seek some type of mental health support for PTSD and these types of things. A lot of that has to do with the fact of the extent of the deployment. So you've got a lot of people going 2 or 3 tours. As the Iraq War ended, it's always a big question of how did you only go one time. So there's a tremendous amount of wear and tear. The PTSD, the traumatic brain injury, which isn't something that a lot of people seek treatment for. Unlike other wars, for instance, Colonel Jacobs was in Vietnam, 1 of every 3 troops who was wounded died. But in this war, we've been able to save more on the battlefield, and now we're only losing 1 of 8. And so a lot of times, when people are wounded and they survive, there's a lot of other issues that they face down the road, and that's where we're seeing the traumatic brain injury problem. So it is overwhelming. I mean, the VA system has a demand on it that it's just having a problem meeting the demand right now.
No, it's never had to face what it's had to face post-Iraq, post-Afghanistan, where we are right now as the drawdown continues for Afghanistan. Jack, though, the challenges that returning vets face in this troubling economy, that's staggering enough. But when you think about the fact that they do return with issues with PTSD, it does, logic would dictate that disability could be a big benefit in helping these young men, these young women, while they are looking for work.
Well, there is a lot that's being done. A lot of corporations are working on getting veterans trained and hired. There are a lot of charitable organizations that are doing it as well. I think the Defense Department has to do a much better job of preparing our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who are leaving the service to prepare them for life outside the service. But I got to tell you something. A lot of people view giving a job to a veteran as charity. I think this is complete nonsense. There is nobody like military people who get responsibility and authority at a very early age. And there are people who are 20, 21 years old in the military who've had authority and responsibility way in excess of their age, way more than the people who are looking to hire them. So giving veterans jobs is not charity. You're getting the absolutely the best people this country can produce.
John, just from your personal experience, I want to remind everybody you took 1 year a leave of absence to serve in Iraq and then returned to the current job that you have now. What is your recommendation to veterans who returned that struggle to find the right job that fits what they want to do?
Well, right now I'm going to tell them that our foundation, the Vet Voice Foundation, has a relationship with an organization trying to help veterans get jobs called America Wants You. We have a relationship online with Career Builder. There's thousands of jobs on that website. I would ask people to go check it out. Like Colonel Jacobs said, there's a lot of nonprofit organizations trying to help connect veterans who are unemployed with corporations that are looking to hire. But I will to add that, you know, the economy is a bad economy right now, and we've done things in this war we haven't done before. We've relied heavily on the National Guard and Reserve. Public sector jobs are under attack in this country. The Postal Service is under attack. State government jobs are under attack. Teacher jobs are under attack. These are traditionally the types of jobs that are required, you know, if Guard and Reservists are going to serve their country, that they need to work in these types of jobs, because basically 1 out of every 5 years they're deployed. So it's hard for a small business owner to keep these individuals on, you know, to bring them back and guarantee they have a job. If there's no job for people who work for small business or private corporations that are under attack, if there's no job when they come home, there's no job that can be protected under the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Act. So because we relied so heavily on Guard and Reservists in this war, a lot of them come home and there's just no job to return to.
Gentlemen, thank you. Colonel Jack Jacobs, Jon Soltz, we appreciate your time this morning.